The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your financial advisor. Since they've been introduced, Trump accounts have stirred up a lot of conversation. Under the new program, eligible children born between 2025 and 2028 will receive a $1,000 government contribution into an investment account that's designed to help them build long-term savings. Supporters say the accounts could give children a financial head start, while some critics say depending on your goals, they may not be the best fit. Joining me today to share his perspective is Chris Burkle of Axis Financial. There have been some criticisms and some praise I've seen just out in the news from people about these accounts. In your opinion, what do you think are some of the biggest benefits to them, and maybe what are some limitations to them that families should consider before opening one?
Well, it's a good question. The first thing that I would say is, as a fiduciary, every single situation has to be dependent on the needs of the individual.
Yeah.
And there's so many different vehicles. And so when we're talking about, where Trump accounts might be a good fit, where they're not a good fit, it's hard to give blanket answers because it is solely dependent on the needs of the individual. Now, that being said, the biggest benefits that I see from the Trump accounts are purely if you're born, between 2025 and 2028, you get the Fed's going to give you $1,000 to put into an account. That I think is the single biggest benefit is that you're getting free money. Of course, someone might make the case that nothing is free, but you're getting free money essentially. That's the single biggest benefit in my view. There's a few other benefits. They're not huge in my opinion. If you're a business owner, you actually can contribute up to $2,500, I believe, into an account for an employee, and you get the tax deduction by doing that. And so, I don't know that it would tip somebody over the edge. It doesn't help the individual that is opening the Trump account. It helps the business owner. Another benefit of the Trump account would be that, and again, it depends on the how aggressive your CPA is and what they say is something you're able to do or not on your taxes. But you have to have earned income to have an IRA or Roth IRA. Well, you could have a custodial account and have your kids, a custodial Roth IRA or IRA if they're working in the family business or something like that. But what's debatable, and this is why I said it's really what the CPA would say, what would be debatable is whether at what age is the child considered able to work in the family business. I hear some people say, well, I own a restaurant. My 4-year-old can take silverware. I don't know. You're getting into some gray areas there. But if before the age, whatever that is, before you get to the age where they could have legitimate earned income, a Trump account could fill that gap there, so that could be a benefit as well.
Yeah. I've seen some people say that these accounts already add like another layer to a complex saving system. Do you think this account adds another layer of complexity to things?
100%. The reason that it adds complexity is because you have to remember all of the rules and regulations and then stay up on those rules and regulations. when things change, oh, well, you can do this, you can't do this. And then, it's like with the 529 was a lot more restrictive before the Secure Act. And then, then they were like, oh, well, you could use it for cooking classes or something like that. So, you have to stay up on all that stuff. And so here's another account where you have to make sure that not only it fits the situation, but understand all the parameters and the legalities of that account. And so, yeah, when you're adding another account or an opportunity potentially in the mix, then certainly it's going to be complex.
I've seen too, some like tax experts have said that these accounts, they've kind of questioned whether these accounts like offer the same tax advantages as some of the other savings vehicles that are already out there. What should families do if they're interested in this account but maybe are worried about the tax implications or don't know what they should be checking for ahead of time? Do you have any advice for them?
If the parents are trying to figure out how to pay for education, I mean, the 529 is going to be the best avenue to go down. But what is the goal of the parent? What are they trying to accomplish? I don't think that the Trump account would be the very best thing for education. So that's scenario where, again, depending on certain parameters, why one would maybe inch ahead of the other one as you're getting closer to the finish line, kind of a thing. But the Trump account, it's a cap of $5,000, per person per year. So it's basically your contributions are they're non-deductible contributions, and then the gains are all treated like an IRA, where the gains are all going to be treated as tax on earned income when you withdraw. So again, it really comes down to what the parents are trying to accomplish for the child.
If parents want to kind of start saving for their child, but their dollars are being stretched thin right now, or they don't know whether to prioritize saving for their child or maybe saving for themselves and paying off debt, how do they kind of balance that?
Again, I hate to sound like the broken record, but it does depend on the situation. And, whether it's an either or it's an and is going to depend on, their individual situation and, what the parameters are for that, what they're trying to accomplish. But, that's the whole purpose of why catch-up contributions exist when they reach 50 years old, because most people living paycheck to paycheck are not really saving for their own situation, let alone for their kids. So, as their kids are young, kids are expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, I have kids and I love them, but they are very expensive. And so, as people are raising their kids and having families and, they have less disposable income to put in various directions that will put them ahead financially. And so they're not really saving a whole lot. And so then by the time they're 50, and again, it's broad strokes on the canvas. I know that there are exceptions to every rule, but when they reach 50, typically the kids are kind of out and on their own, and so now they have finances freed up a little bit, and so then they're allowed to catch up, if you will, and add into their own retirement account. So, I mean, it's kind of like, well, what is your goal first? I mean, do you want to save for your own retirement, or do you want to focus on saving for the children? 529, because the parents are definitely concerned about their kids going to college, and that's an expense unless the child gets scholarships or some kind of assistance. That's an expense on the parent, so there's definitely more motivation for the parent to address education than I see in those other areas. And so, I mean, you've just got certain things that are levels of priority before you even get to a conversation on the Trump account. But if your child's born between 25 and 28, 2025 and 2028, it's like, well, might as well open the account anyway to get the $1,000.
Do you think that these kind of accounts are going to catch on more in the future? Like, do you see other administrations trying to do something like this, or maybe states on their own kind of trying to come up with plans to help get younger people set up better from the start?
It's hard to say what politicians are going to do, right? I mean, that opens up a whole can of worms in and of itself. But I think that the desire or the motivation to get parents saving for their kids, and then to teach the kids to start saving on their own, I think is certainly a healthy discussion and viewpoint. Especially with the financial impacts on Social Security and debates whether it will be there or not or whatever. And again, I'm not going down the Social Security path, but there are financial concerns. And so if you can teach children to start saving early, it doesn't just help them by having an account. It's a springboard to have other conversations about finances as a whole, right? And so then when you can educate young people on what to do with their finances, they start thinking about, okay, how should I look at this responsibly? All of that is very, very positive. And I think if people would look at it that way, then sure, states and other politicians, and I mean, in that regard, that starts the conversation. That's all positive.
Yeah. I just noticed a lot more recently, like financial institutions like offering little programs to help kids learn about investing or to learn about like saving. So it just seems like compared to just a few decades ago, like we're really trying to get everybody involved in personal finance now and trying to get people set up a little bit better, I think, than in years past.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely some ebb and flow. I mean, when my, talking with my parents when I was growing up, and, I mean, they were, my parents were telling me that they would teach them how to balance their checkbooks, and then when I was growing up, there was none of that, but my parents taught me. And now, when you talk to kids, they're like, what was passport passbook savings at the banks, or what's it, how do you balance a checkbook and those kinds of things. And I think, when you things swing, right? So I think there was kind of a generation that there wasn't a lot of discussions at times, and then, it swings, and then there's more discussions. And I think we are in a situation where kind of, swinging to the positive in that regard and saying, hey, let's have these conversations. Let's talk about financial awareness at a younger age. And again, that's only going to put us in a much better spot.
If a family does decide to open up a Trump account and they're eligible, like they have a child between those years, maybe they're worried about like not contributing enough, or maybe they're not able to contribute at all, but that those funds still grow by themselves, right?
Yeah, 100%. And there's different degrees of quote unquote better, right? I mean, it's like if you have money that you want to invest and you don't contribute anything else to it, that's certainly better than not having any money to invest. But a step up from that, another level of quote unquote better would be, let's contribute more than just like the lump sum that we had initially, and then go up from that. And it's like, okay, now let's dollar cost average. Let's put a regular amount at regular intervals in. I mean, all of those things are better than not doing anything at all.
That does it for this edition of Not Your Father's 2 Cents. Sources used in this episode will be linked in the description. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll meet you back here in the next episode.